Trevor Schaefer was diagnosed with brain cancer in 2002 when he was just 13 years old. His family believes his cancer was environmentally caused as a child growing up in Valley County. Since his diagnosis, Trevor and his mother have been on a mission to make sure that communities hit by cancer clusters get the help they deserve. Last week, the CDC revised their cancer cluster guidelines based on Trevor's law, and Jude Binkley spoke with Trevor earlier today. Jude?
Well, Brian, it's been 6 years since Trevor's law was passed, and it's been a long journey, but they're finally seeing some tangible benefits.
We wanted to do something about that. My mom had this brilliant idea that we have Megan's Law to address sexual predators throughout the United States, so we need a law to address toxic predators throughout the United States.
Trevor Schaefer is the namesake of Trevor's Law, which was passed in 2016. 3 years later, the CDC told Trevor they were beginning the process of restructuring their cancer cluster guidelines.
They put an emphasis on unusual patterns of cancer, which makes it a lot easier to define a cancer cluster because you're not dealing with just one specific type of cancer. You're dealing with multiple cancers in an area that is an unusual pattern.
The new guidelines also give more emphasis on communication from health agencies with communities that are impacted by a cancer cluster.
In collaboration with them, so they give them a much stronger voice.
The new guidelines, based on the language of Trevor's Law, are essentially a roadmap for local and state health departments to follow when there's a cancer cluster concern. They were released on December 8th after years in the making.
It's surreal. I mean, just because there's so many, not just stops and goes to get the law passed and having to back off on some of the strong language in it to get it passed, but then also the frustration about, you think once a bill passes the United States Congress and is signed by the president, that it's going to get implemented. And that wasn't the case, and that was very frustrating. It took 3 years for anything to happen.
While working to get change implemented, Trevor worked with 3 different presidential administrations. Despite the lengthy process, the new guidelines send a positive message.
And you wonder why it would take that long to get this done, while so many communities are suffering, and over 15,780 children a year are diagnosed with cancer. And so, every second counts, really. And so that was frustrating, but this does feel like a great victory for our communities that are impacted by childhood and adult cancer clusters, for sure, and gives us and communities a great platform to work off of to finally have their voices heard and get environmental justice.
Now, while these guidelines are now in place, Trevor told me they have more steps in this journey. Next year, they'll begin talks to incorporate Trevor's Law into the Cancer Moonshot Initiative, which would help with funding.
And the goal with that, obviously, Jude, is to reduce the cancer deaths in this country by half in the next 25 years. All right, thank you very much, Jude.